he lost it completely. Thanks, Smoking Jim Frazier.
Welcome,
Great insights there, and can't believe you didn't even watch a game, and after 1 week, they're your favorite league.
We're hitting in that league.
How do you even know? It's like your pony league career.
I miss it.
All talk, no play. All right, let's go to what's on your mind, Chip Hayner.
Thank you, Alan. And what's on my mind? First, I'd like to just address a couple of small items that Jim kind of glossed over. Now, Tyler Murray. It's a fool's errand for him to leave baseball in guaranteed contracts for the hopes at NFL stardom. Here's a kid who's played 1 year of college football, and he's really not trained to be an NFL quarterback. And at 5'10", he's going to be throwing the ball into the middle of the back of his offensive lineman. So
he's not even 5'10", he's 5'8".
Before we start chiseling his bust in Canton, let's see him make a team first. And as a matter of fact, the Arizona Cardinals, with the first pick in the draft, have already said they're not taking him. All right, they're going to go with Josh Rosen, and they feel that he's going to be there because he's more of a prototypical NFL quarterback. That all being said, okay, he wants to sign with the NFL. Great. He'll have one contract, and he will be one and done. Mark my words. Secondly, the AAF, and I'm really glad that Jim brought this up because, well, just like, when you're driving by a car accident, you have to kind of slow down and look. Yeah. Well, I had to put one of the games on this weekend.
Did you?
And it was some of the worst football that I've ever seen. It was terrible.
I appreciate your honesty.
Well, I'm just, like I said, the league is being run in conjunction with the NFL. So it does have a chance to have some success. Mm-hmm. They're never going to replace the NFL. The NFL is never going to absorb any of those teams. It's
going to be like a feeder system.
Because, what the NFL did, they had it on the NFL Network. Okay? So, it's going to be more of a kind of like NFL Europe was for the NFL. Players that were practice squad players or down the liners who need to find out can they play football or not. They're going to get a chance to play.
That need to play.
Well, and believe me, if you saw Christian Hackenberg, he shouldn't be playing.
Whoa.
But
I saw Peterman play.
Yeah, well,
in the NFL.
Well, not for long. So there you go.
Quite a few games he played.
But you asked me what's on my mind this week, and once again, here it is. Second week of February, going into the third week of February, and we're talking about the drama down on the south side involving the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, what's being brought up again is Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and, they've created this whole environment of chaos that is embarrassing to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, when you sit there and look at the entire situation, there's a whole lot of blame to be pointed around. I know some people have decided that Antonio Brown's the bad guy in all this, and Le'Veon Bell is the bad guy in all this. And I think if you look at the top, I think the problems with the Steelers start with Art Rooney II. He is showing no leadership as an owner of the team, and he doesn't make it clear to his coaches, his players, or anybody else what is expected of the people that work for him. Has he forgotten that everybody's paycheck is signed by him? Okay? Yeah, there's a union out there and everything, but at the end of the day, those players are Pittsburgh Steelers employees, and you have the right to expect a certain type of behavior. Now, that being said, the next person in line, you got to point the finger at Mike Tomlin, because Mike Tomlin has created an untenable situation by having different sets of rules for different people. And, if you're going to have 5 different rule books and rules only apply to some people and not to others, then you're going to have chaos and you're going to have dissension among your team. The fact that there should be one set of rules. They apply to everybody equally. I don't care if it's your 15th year in the league. I don't care if it's your first year in the league. The rules have to be applied equally. that's how the Patriots do it. And, don't they have a little string of success to hang their hat on recently? There's something must be working there. The next part of the problem, and you can point your way around the locker room at the lack of leadership that is shown there all the way across the board. But I think one of the biggest problems and the reason why two of the best players in the league don't want to play on the team is because of the diva quarterback that we have, who I believe is as big a problem as Antonio Brown. He's just smart enough to stay off social media and to stay out of sight and be by himself. I think a lot of the problems that the Steelers have because Ben Roethlisberger seems to think that he walks on water, and that is not the case. And what needs to happen is Art Rooney needs to get Mike Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and whoever else is going to play. They need to sit down in a room. They need to hash this out between them. People need to know what the hierarchy is, what the chain of command is, and what is expected of them and their role. And things got to be spelled out clearly for everybody. And that's just the way things are going to be done. I haven't seen any inkling that is going to happen. I hope they do get it together because I believe the things that are wrong with the Steelers are fixable. You've got a bunch of children in the bodies of men that need to be taught how to grow up. And that's what's on my mind.
Can I say one thing before we go to L. Levine, the talking machine? You guys heard it here first. The AAF is the next AFL. You heard it here first. Good football there. Number two, I think what you need to do
What's
is
this part two to what was on your mind?
You need to get Kevin Colbert, Art Rooney II, Ben Roethlisberger, Mike Tomlin, all in a room together with Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell's agent, because they ain't going to be there. You talk to agents nowadays. And thirdly, I agree with Chip. Steelers need to hire Mike McCarthy, although I mentioned him yesterday instead of Mike Malarkey.
No. Actually, to be
What did
honest,
Chip say about that?
to be honest with you, I think one of the biggest culprits in all this is the one that's going to end up getting rewarded. He's going to get the contract extension, and I think it's a mistake. I think the Steelers should be looking towards life after Ben.
But New England tried that once. It didn't work out.
Well, it's not working out the way he's done it. So because we haven't been to a Super Bowl in 9 years. In 9 years, we have not been to one.
Mike McCarthy take us to one.
He was such a hot commodity that a quarter of the league's teams that needed head coaches this year.
Smoking Jim, you got anything else to say?
No.
They hired the guy they fired in Miami to be the head coach of the Jets.
They liked his eyes.
Chip, thank you.
Damaged
Jim,
goods.
Not so thankful.
Damaged goods.
All right, what's on my mind? Can't believe that we're still talking about AB because he tweeted out, it's been a nice 9 years and he's gone. Who cares? Whether he's gone or not, I don't care. Contract, what are they going to get for him at this point in time? Maybe a second-round pick, third-round pick. Who knows? I mean, he's a good athlete. It will hurt the offense a little bit, but guess what? We'll survive without him. There's no doubt about it. There's plenty of talent out there. Who knows, a rookie wide receiver that Smoking Jim may like, maybe the Steelers will pick him up this year. Who knows?
He's not going anywhere.
No, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But the saga, like Chip says, continues. I don't care what happens to Bell. To me, he's as good as gone. He had his fun here and made his money, made millions. Wherever he goes, if they're willing to pay, they'll pay. I mean, it's just part of football. This is how it is. The way contracts are and transition tags, all these other tags they can put on, doesn't matter. Whole scheme of things, I look at the team on the field. That's what we got to worry about.
Yes, sir.
We need players there. That's what has to happen. So I'm with Chip on the one set of rules. Can't raise a family having 2-3 sets of rules or a favorite child.
Yes, you can.
You get all kind of problems. Look at Smoking Jim. He was the favorite kid in the Frazier household, and look what happened to him. It's unbelievable.
Degenerate gambler that he is.
Well, that's what's on my mind. We'll be back with some fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Fiction and fact from
All right.
Smoking Jim's Almanac.
I got some good advice from my man Jack and my godson, little Z. Zach Taylor, my gateway buddy. And we got to introduce little Z to the wrestling guy.
Why?
And then the announcers from Gateway, too, from Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
This is his brother. I didn't ask if he went to Gateway. He got
did.
when he said tattoo on his neck, I watch him every week.
He did.
But what's on my mind is little Black History Month. I know everybody wants a little piece of that.
He didn't give us anything last week.
Yeah. Well, Chipper took care of me.
No.
And I'll take care of you again this week.
Chipper going to take care of me this week. So, hey, little Black History Month.
And you wrote it in black.
Yeah, brown. But, hey, I'm going to do it on Steve USS Cunningham. You know, this is a guy who grew up in the mean streets of Philadelphia. Began boxing in the Navy at the age of 19.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
in
familiar with this
1996.
story. He had been on our show.
Not everybody is. That's why
He had been on our show.
Yeah, but
Okay.
we get new viewers all the time, and Chipper wants to hear this.
Okay.
He won the National Golden Gloves. I bet you didn't know that. In 1998 at
Yes.
178 pounds. Steve USS Cunningham is a two-time IBF World Cruiserweight Champion at 6'3", 195 pounds. Two fighters he admired the most. Which are the two fighters he admired the most? Jack Johnson and Sugar Ray Leonard.
Two of my favorites.
Former sparring partner of the Klitschko brothers. He was ahead on 2 out of 3 judges' scorecards against Tyson Fury. Put Tyson Fury on his back. The third judge had it as a draw when he got knocked out. And everybody knows this. Listen up, Lil Z. The highlight of USS Cunningham's life was when he moved to Monroeville. And that's the fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. USS Cunningham, Monroeville. What a
Who bought lunch?
God's country.
Who bought lunch?
Little piece of black history.
Thank you, Smoking Jim. Hope that show comes out all right. How's you and Cook doing on that?
You got good memory, bro.
I know. You got to watch what I see. When will we see it? Never mind. Thanks, Smoking Jim.
And thank you, everybody, and welcome to my trivia segment. And being that Alan and Jim were at the Golden Gloves on Saturday night doing some announcing, and Jim shared his fiction and fact about Steve USS Cunningham, correct?
Yes, sir.
29 years ago yesterday, Mike Tyson knocked out by Buster Douglas.
1990.
29 years ago. I remember that night because I was in Jefferson Hospital with my knee elevated after my second knee operation. So I couldn't watch the fight. Wow. I had somebody call in the results of it to me that was watching it on closed circuit TV. So just another little piece of history that we like to bring to everybody's attention. Jim does the fluff, I do the facts. So, in my tribute to Black History Month, I want to pay homage to one of the all-time greats in Major League Baseball who passed away last week at the age of 83 years old. None other than Frank Robinson. Frank Robinson was an American outfielder and manager in Major League Baseball who played for 5 teams from 1956 to 1976. The only player to be named most valuable player in both the National League and the American League. He was named the National League MVP after leading the Cincinnati Reds to the pennant in 1961, where they lost to the New York Yankees. See that? And he was a National League MVP.
You haven't really followed baseball that much, buddy.
He was named the American League MVP in 1966. in the first year after he was traded from the Reds to the Baltimore Orioles, after winning the Triple Crown. His
Explain
40
that to the smoking Joe.
Well, he's 49 home runs that year, stood as a franchise record for 30 years. Robinson helped the Orioles to win their first 2 World Series titles in franchise history. By the way, he won the RBI title, the home run title, and the batting title all in 1 year, Triple Crown.
Who's the pitchers for Baltimore?
Nobody.
They had good pitchers?
Oh, they had real good pitchers. They went to 3 World Series in a row, 69, 70, and 71, where they lost.
Beat by the Buckeyes.
They got beat by the Pirates. They got beat by the amazing Mets, and then they beat the Reds, I believe, in 1970. And back when the Pirates played the Orioles in 71, the Orioles boasted 4 pitchers that won 20 games.
Really?
The only time that's ever happened
That
in
was
Major
an
League
amazing
Baseball.
pitching staff.
That was Dave
We beat
McNally,
'em.
Mike Cuellar, Jim Palmer, and Pat Dobson.
Jim Palmer played?
He used to do the underwear commercials.
I thought he played for the
So let's get back to Frank Robinson. He helped lead the Orioles to their first 2 World Series titles in franchise history in 1966 and 1970. Was named the series MVP in 1966 after leading the Orioles to a 4-game sweep of the Los Angeles Dodgers. In 1975, he became the first black manager in Major League history. Robinson was a 14-time All-Star, batted 309 times, hit 30 home runs 11 times, and led the league in slugging 4 times and in runs scored 3 times. His 586 career home runs ranked 4th in Major League history at the time of his retirement. He ranked 6th in total bases and extra base hits, 8th in games played, and 9th in runs scored. His 2,943 career hits are the most since 1934 by any player who fell short of 3,000. You know who else fell short of 3,000? Barry Bonds. And Frank did something that he didn't do. He made the Hall of Fame.
And he also did something he didn't do, too. He didn't take PEDs.
He was elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility in 1982. He went on to manage the San Francisco Giants, the Baltimore Orioles, the Montreal Expos / Washington Nationals for most of the last 2 decades of his life. He also managed to end up winning over 1,000 games as a manager in the major leagues. Well, you know, Jim.
These are the facts.
These are the facts. This is his Wikipedia page. So, you know, like I always have told you, buddy, just the facts. Some more of his career highlights: 14-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champion, National League MVP 1961, American League MVP 1966, World Series MVP 1966, Triple Crown winner 1966, National League Rookie of the Year 1956, Gold Glove winner, American League Manager of the Year. 3 baseball teams have retired his jersey: the Cincinnati Reds, the Baltimore Orioles, and the Cleveland Indians. He's in the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame, the Orioles Hall of Fame, the Indians Hall of Fame. He's in the Washington Nationals Ring of Honor. And I could go more into, you know, his career, but I think his career accomplishments speak for themselves. And, you know, he was a great ambassador for the game. And after his playing career, when he was getting to the end of his playing career, he very much wanted to become the first African-American to manage a Major League Baseball team. And that's when the Cleveland Indians signed him and convinced him to be a player manager. And in his very first at-bat as player manager for the Cleveland Indians, he hit a home run.
Oh,
Really?
can't do better than that.
No, you can't do better than that. That's quite an amazing
He was a feisty, strong guy, too.
He he was the and for a number of years after his managerial career was over, he was the one that was a disciplinarian for the Major League Baseball. And Frank Robinson was not somebody that you wanted to cross. But
he was a tough guy.
Great accomplishments in his baseball career. And, you know, he was a very humble man. His statistics in his career speaks for itself. And he was one of the greatest players to ever play the game. And I used to remember that, you know, as a young, impressionable child, learning the game of baseball and seeing Brooks Robinson and Frank Robinson playing on the same team, and I did ask my father, well, how come, if they're brothers, how come they have different colored skin? Yeah. I was a child and I didn't know any better. My father explained to me yeah, he straightened me out, but I mean, I was a child. I didn't know any better.
Well, let me ask you this. I got two questions for you. First question is, when he played for the Reds, did he play with Pete Rose? The big win.
Pete Rose, I believe his rookie season was 1964.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Okay, so he would have played 1964 and 1965 with Pete Rose.
And secondly, did you
He didn't like him, though.
Really? Secondly, did you say...
Thought he was a hot dog.
Did you say, with all the fixins? Secondly, did you say that he was the first black manager ever?
In Major League Baseball, yes.
And so was he also the first black manager to be fired?
Probably. Hey, you know what? Managers, managers and head coaches, they get hired to be fired because that's all part of the job.
Yeah. Even though Mr. Negative got to bring it up, it's not really negative. You're just negative.
You can put this in your file because that's somebody who's worth reading up on.
He can't help himself, folks. I know, he can't help himself. If there's good,
Jim,
that's Smoking Jim, what's bad?
Jim, I just stick with the facts, my friend.
On location at Olive Oil's Pizzeria and more in Brookline Boulevard. Great show. Had a lot of fun. Our first show back after a 2-month hiatus. Longest time we've been off from our show. A lot of great action there. People come out and watched us and had an entertaining show. Frank Fanera thanked us for coming out, even though he forgot we were coming out. And we got that straightened out. We'll be back March 11th. On location at Olive Oil's Pizzeria. It's 930 Brookline Boulevard. So check it out. He may have some food specials and other things out there. We'll see that when the Facebook page comes up. But it's always a good time there. Great location, a lot of fun. Fun on a rainy night in Pittsburgh. But we had it there. Learned about guns from John DeLallo. Gave us a good thing on Olympic gunsmanship. And he said, see if you could shoot like a girl. And because women are taking over the sport and winning all kind of awards. He mentioned one lady won like 6 Olympic or 7 Olympic gold medals for shooting. Just a whole different thing. He instructs people and teaches people. He invited Smoking Jim and I to go out when it's dry and go shoot on a course. Not the way Smoking Jim was showing, but he'll get disciplined accordingly. He does it right, and he's all about safety, and he told us, get the ammo and come on out. And he'll even provide the guns for us. So that'll be a coming attraction. Maybe we'll get a day out there and film Smoking Jim. Maybe not. Shooting a gun.
I want Clint Eastwood's gun.
Make my day. Nah, it's not happening.
Give him blanks because he'll end up shooting himself.
They're not even going to give him a gun. He won't be allowed on the course.
Mexico burst.
Yeah.
He'll shoot himself in the pants.
Give him a water pistol.
Yeah, it'd be safer. But yeah, check out our next show, March 11th, Olive Oil's Pizzeria in Brookline. So we'll be there. Can't wait to see you come out there, and we'll have some great guests lined up for you that night also. So see you then, and we'll come back and talk some Penguins. Don't change that dial.
The NHL just doesn't seem to have any interest in trying to further their brand. The problem with the NHL is that they're a niche sport. You know, they don't have the national draw. Yeah, in Pittsburgh, hockey is big, you know, but it's a regional type of a thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go from coast to coast. And, you know, and I think back to the times when the NHL was starting to make a name for itself in the early to mid 80s.
Yeah.
And they had a television contract with ESPN, and it was a national television contract. And the NHL, in their infinite wisdom, decided to back out of the contract with ESPN and have national exposure to go out of it with a sports network out of Canada called TSN. Now, no, there isn't any cable networks to carry TSN.
They don't pick it up.
Okay, so they went from a place where they had national exposure to now they had exposure in Canada. Okay, and you wonder why the team just doesn't get the television ratings. And the reason why Major League Baseball and pro football are so successful, television revenue.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely not the money they make
Just ask
through
the
the
Yankees.
gate.
Ask
Yeah.
the Yankees.
Well, they have their own network.
Yeah.
Do you think that AAF is hurting hockey a little bit?
No.
No.
Because there's really nothing to compete with it. And I swear, Jim, I saw some of the worst football. I mean, I watched the high school teams that were better coached and played better than what I saw this week. I know with Saturday night you saw that one game where that quarterback got his helmet knocked off.
I was hoping his head was
and there was no flag thrown, and I just knew Jim was there replaying that over and over again, right?
Yes, sir.
Pressing replay. But I mean, it actually did look like a clean football hit. It looked like the player put his the face mask right into the quarterback's chest. And but these are players that aren't going to play in the NFL, and they're getting a chance to play now. But we'll see. We'll see how it progresses. It was a first weekend, and I thought it was a pretty poor performance, is what I thought.
Yeah.
A bunch of washed-up old NFL coaches: Dennis Erickson, Steve Spurrier, Rick Neuheisel, who got run out of college football.
Tim Lewis was up there, coach.
Uh-huh.
The head coach. Mike Singletary.
Yeah, like I said, washed-up ex-NFL coaches who can't get a job in the NFL.
Unbelievable. Smoking
But
chimney.
getting back to the Penguins, the biggest problem they've had all year, and with the injuries to the defensive core, they just traded away a defenseman.
Yeah.
Alexia.
It comes back.
It comes back to bite him. Ole Mata, how long is he going to be out? And right now, the Penguins are fighting for their playoff lives right now. They're number 8 or 9 in the Eastern Conference, and the top 8 make it. So
Can I spell something out? Curse.
How'd you spell that?
Nobody wants to talk about the curse, but
speaking of curses, Sid Crosby on Monday night, or was that Sunday, broke Mario Larue's record for most games played as a Penguin.
I saw that.
did he?
Yes, he did.
Congratulations.
Next record of Mario's that he'll probably break is we'll see how many more head coaches he gets fired.
It's possible. He did well at it.
He did. He's done very well at it. So
Yeah.
we've got the inconsistency of the Penguins, the same mistakes they keep making over and over and over again. And still, even though they won last night, now you would think going into the game last night, the Penguins lost 4 in a row. And the Flyers won 8 of their last 9. And if you look at the way those two teams played, you would have thought the Penguins won 8 of their last 9, and the Flyers are the ones that lost 4 in a
Murray
row.
only had 50 saves.
50 saves. He had 28 saves in the second period alone.
He was standing on his
that
head.
quick whistle didn't help Philly.
The ref lost sight of the puck, and that's what they're trained to do.
Can't see the puck. Stop play.
And the black.
No. It was gray then. Faded. Hey, that's how the game's played.
So,
How do referees miss calls in the NFL? How's that happen? Explain that to me. Hey, what about some Bucko talk here?
how about some Bucko talk? Tomorrow is
back.
the first day of spring training practice with the pitchers and catchers. Yesterday was reporting day. Everything's on track for the Pittsburgh Pirates. They made some interesting pickups. They re-signed Francisco Liriano to a minor league contract. He's got a chance to make the big team. And if you think about what Francisco did last year for the Tigers, he was not that bad for them in the role that they asked him to.
He was great against lefties.
He was great against lefties. He was a spot starter, a long reliever, and you know, in a role like that, you know, I think it's going to be a pleasant little surprise. I think Liriano can still pitch in the major leagues. They also signed a former PED user, Melky Cabrera.
I'm surprised.
To a minor league contract again.
They're inviting him. Near the end of his career.
He's near the end of his career, but I mean, you know, if he makes the team, he could be a fourth or a fifth outfielder, pinch hitter. You know, and he can play, I believe, some infield as well. But the Pirates' problems have all been solved at the hot corner. Garth Brooks going to be practicing for a couple of weeks with the team at third base, and I just think it's interesting that you know that he's down there with the team. But hey, you know what? Anything that's going to help to draw fans in, why not? You know. But I think the Pirates. I said this last year when the Pirates started spring training, and I got laughed at by this one, and Alan kind of like, well, you know, we'll see. Last year, when the Pirates had traded away Andrew McCutchen and Garrett Cole, I said that the Pirate team last year was going to be better than the Pirate team of 2017 without Cole or McCutchen. And it turned out to be correct. And this is what my prediction is for this year.
Stay tuned.
This year's Pirate team is going to be better than last year's. Last year we were 82 and 79, and I'm looking.
You're up in that.
I'm up in the ante on that.
Can I take a minute to thank the Pirates in advance? I got the Pirates in 79 and under, so I want to thank them. I didn't think.
Well, geez, you know what? That is like a breath of fresh air. Considering your record on the basketball games, I'm telling you what, people bank your money. Bet the over.
I had to jump at that 79 and under, wouldn't you?
He just told you they're going to do better than 82.
The Pirates have got a.
Didn't you listen to Chip? He said better than 82. Smoking, Jim, your hearing's affected. Not only do you have CTE, but you're deaf.
And, you know, and here's an interesting thing. Here's somebody to watch out for, somebody for you to follow in spring training, and I'll be asking you questions, so I want updates, even though I'm already going to know the answers to the questions. Right. I'm going to test you. Keep an eye on Eric Gonzalez, the shortstop that we picked up from the Cleveland Indians. The only reason he was not starting in Cleveland because Lindor is an all-star shortstop, and they've got Jason Kipnis over at second base who's an all-star second baseman. Well, guess what happened to Lindor? Lindor's out with shoulder injury. Yeah. So guess who is going to be the Cleveland Indians starting shortstop?
Our guy.
Max Moroff.
Wow.
I was shocked.
The Pirates traded. Wow. They traded.
I heard that the other day, and I go, you got to be kidding me.
They traded Jordan Luplow and Max Moroff to get Gonzalez.
Yeah.
And Gonzalez is, from what everybody tells me, is a slick fielding shortstop, and he should be playing in the major leagues. Well, he's going to get his chance to earn a spot on the team, and it'll be interesting to see. But now the Indians are going to be
out of luck.
Because Max Moroff was not bad in small bunches. But the thing is, he was the type of player that the more he played, the worse he played. I mean, he would be okay in the field, but pitchers figured him out. There's a book on him. Yeah. I mean, he would get up, he'd get hot, go 2 for 3, 3 for 4, poke a home run or something like that, and then he'd go over 16. You know, so I mean that's the facts of Major League Baseball. So.
We'll see what happens.
When's Polanco going to be ready?
Polanco, I don't believe they say June, July. He's already taking batting practice, and his rehab is coming along. But they're not going to rush him. No, they're not going to rush him.
They don't need to. They replaced them.
Yeah, this is kid that they got from the Indians.
Gonzalez?
Chisenhall.
No.
Lonnie Chisenhall. He's got some experience.
He's a white guy.
He's got some experience, and he'll be a good fourth outfielder. And he'll be able to. He's played right field in the major leagues, and he's performed adequately. I mean, he certainly hasn't batting 350 or anything like that, but he'll bat you 250, 260, 265. Has a little bit of pop in the bat, but what they're looking for this year is more power out of Josh Bell, out of Colin Moran, you know, and
we'll see.
What's your prediction on my favorite Korean? I love that kid.
We'll see what happens. He has not played in the major leagues in 2.5 years. Okay.
If that's what you call it.
Yeah. That's not the major leagues, Jim. The major leagues is but
faster.
Here's what, you know, you believe that people should be given second chances. Well, I believe that the Pirates are giving a second chance to Jung Ho Gong, and if he can help the Pirates win baseball games, I've got no problem with him playing on the team. But you know what? He's got a lot to prove. I mean, he's the deck's
got the talent.
The deck. Well, you know, we'll find out if he does or not.
Talent.
He had the talent.
We don't know
but
if he does have it.
Here's what: he's going to get a chance to prove himself. He's going to play in the spring, and we'll see what happens. I'm not going to close the door on him just yet, but by the same token, you know, he's not going to get grandfathered in a position on the team just because of his past performance.
No,
is that short black guy still on the team?
What's that?
Making all that money. The short black guy that was making all that money. He's still on the team.
Who?
Short black guy. Played outfield, infield.
Josh Harrison.
Yeah, him.
No, Josh Harrison. As a matter of fact, I don't believe he's signed with anybody yet.
Okay.
They're still looking.
There, you know, but you know, that brings up another point. Alan brought this to my attention. I read the article earlier today, and you know, Justin Verlander, you know, Cy Young award-winning pitcher for the Houston Astros,
He's done great.
has said that the free agency is broken because right now you have the two best players available in free agency that still have not signed. You've got Bryce Harper, you've got Manny Machado, and you've got over 100 other players that are free agents that have not signed yet.
I like to see Harper to the Yankees.
Well, you know what?
They can afford it.
You know, here's what the thing is. You know, it looks like the teams aren't opening up the bank, you know, for players like they used to, and I think it's a pretty wise move as an owner of a team. I'm not going to pay somebody or reward them for past performance.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to pay them in accordance with what can be expected out of them, and just because you hit 40 home runs last year doesn't mean you're going to hit 40 this year. You know, I mean,
show me.
You know, that's the way I would do it. I would give.
Washington already offered him pretty big money, right?
He turned it down
Because he's thinking he wants to sign a long-term contract. He wants $400 million. I don't believe he's worth it. And you know what? If he wants to, you know, if he wants to hold on, I mean, look at it. Look at this. Neil Walker, okay, former Pirate. Last year, he played for the Yankees, and he signed a contract for $4.5 million to play 1 year for the Yankees. He batted .211,
didn't play the whole season.
had his worst season in majors. Okay, so he signed a contract with the Miami Marlins, $2.5 million.
That ain't right.
You know, they're paying him what he based on his performance, not what he's done in the past. I mean,
I wouldn't play for that.
well, apparently he's got no problem with it because you know what? He's a ball player and he wants to play. That's what you do. Baseball players play ball.
You only have so many years as a playing baseball,
But
football,
he got the
etc.
bad back. He got all kind of injuries, man. Time to walk away. You can make more money in the broadcast.
You couldn't do it.
You know what?
That's true.
You know what?
You couldn't do it.
Here's what the thing is with professional athletes. The athletes are usually the last ones to know that their career is over. I mean, a perfect example of that was James Harrison. You know, James Harrison, you know, he thought that he was still an all-pro linebacker when the game had passed him by.
He was. He could have played another year.
Mm-hmm.
So does
He
Smoking
started in the Super Bowl.
Right. And that was the Super Bowl they lost.
What did he play? 6 plays.
He played the whole
He played
game.
like 6
He
plays.
played the whole game.
Yeah, but
No, he didn't.
but
No, he
the
didn't.
but the game passed him by.
No, he
and,
didn't.
You know, and that's the sad thing. But you know, players, they just want to play ball. I mean, they've been playing ball since they were kids. That's
They're
what they
ballers.
know.
They want a ball.
Hey, and you know what? I hope Neil Walker has a
Neil
great Neil Young. I hope he has a great season. I hope he hits the cover of the
30
ball.
homers.
I hope he makes the All-Star team. You know, I mean, I wish nothing but good things for him or any of the other Pirates that have gone along the way.
Sure.
There isn't any of them that I have any animosity towards. It's a business.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to get away from with, our criticisms of how a team does business. I mean, baseball's created an environment that teams have to exist in that doesn't make any kind of sense. You know, pro football has a salary cap. NHL has a salary cap. The NBA has a salary cap. Why don't we have a salary cap in Major League Baseball?
Owners and
Because
players,
of the fact that the teams like the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Cubs and the Dodgers can make more money than any of the other teams, and they don't feel that they should have to share all of their profits
They pay
with
their
teams
luxury
like the
tax.
Miami Marlins or the Pittsburgh Pirates or
they're willing
teams
to
like
pay
that.
a luxury tax.
And it leads to an uneven playing field. But you know what? That is what it is. There are still ways to be successful in Major League Baseball
Sure.
without spending.
Sometimes small market teams come up and grab something.
Yeah,
I like for the Pirates to take that course.
What course?
There's more ways to be successful than that way.
Thank you.
Because when you bring up when you develop players through your farm system, and you just leave them walk out the door because you want to pocket all the profits, it's not the way to win.
Well, it's not as simple as you make it seem, Jim. You know, and here's what the thing is.
97 wins or 98 wins.
Yeah,
whatever it
right,
was.
and you know what, and they, and that's the way the ball bounces, man. There is no guarantees, and and with teams, they were going to see this. Mark my words, with the Cleveland Indians this year, you're going to see a drop off in their team because they got these teams anymore. You put together a team, get about 2 or 3 years. You've got a 2 or 3 year window where you've got a chance to win a championship, and either you win it or you don't. But I mean, you look at them. They made it to the World Series one year, and I bet you they struggled. I mean, of course, they're in a really bad division, but they're going to struggle to make the playoffs this year.
No, it ebbs and it flows, and they're finding out you can't get 10-year contracts.
And
They're only after 4 or 5 years. These guys aren't producing.
you can't pay everybody
No.
$50 million.
No.
You know, it just it doesn't work that way.
I'm my buttons.
All right. Give me about 10 and I'll be good. No. Hey, we've had an interesting show. We're just about winding it down, folks. Thanks for watching us in our live Pittsburgh Sportsline TV show.
Is that a Pittsburgh Crawford's hat?
All right, I'm going to sign off. This is Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Chip Painter, Smoking Jim Frazier. Please stay Joey strong.